Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III here with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. I hope you're having a great week. I'd like to talk to you today about a topic that has been coming up a couple of different times throughout the week with individuals that I speak with, different clients, friends, family, different individuals. And I think this is something that could really help you in your life, and that is how to just bust past your fears in your life. This is a topic that not only do I feel a lot of people struggle with right now with everything going on in the economy, the marketplace, and the world, but it's something that they struggle with lifelong. And so I was thinking about this, and there's a particular article by Leo over at Zen Habits that I really, really liked, and it's one that I had printed off, and I'm actually going to read this article to you. And it's from the website Zen Habits, and it's something that I think just really, really puts down and helps you to identify your fears and come up with some strategies to overcome them. So I'm going to read this to you, and I hope it's something that will give you some insights and maybe a little inspiration to be able to tackle your fears. It starts out with a quote by Sherry Huber that says, "Every time we choose safety, we reinforce fear." And that's so true. Every time we choose safety, we're just reinforcing fear. Fear of something bad happening in the future is one of the things that just makes us human. Animals might fear an immediate danger, and that's happening right now, but only we fear something that might happen, that isn't happening right now, that isn't even showing its ugly face at the moment. And this fear, some might say, is necessary. It stops us from doing things that are stupid. But I've found that most of these fears are really unnecessary. They're baseless, and they're holding us back from achieving something more. So you might be letting different types of fears hold you back, like fear of failure or abandonment, a fear of rejection, intimacy, a fear of success maybe, or a fear of being broke and failing, or maybe most importantly, a fear of not being good enough. I think this last one, not being good enough, is actually at the root of all of the other fears. We just fear we'll fail because we're not good enough. We fear that we'll lose our relationships, or we'll be abandoned or rejected, or that we're just not good enough for success. And we fear intimacy for the very same reasons. We might get rejected, or maybe we're not good enough, of a fit or a person. And even the fear of success can be based on the idea that we're not good enough. So do you have these fears? Which of these fears do you deal with? That you're not good enough? I've dealt with that myself most of my life, and I still do today. But here's the thing. Having fear is natural. It's totally okay. Letting it stop you from going after your dreams is the problem. That's the tragedy. And I did this for, a big part of my life. I let the fear of not being good enough stop me from even trying in many, many, ventures or daring to dream in certain areas. And it turned out that my fears were baseless. I am good enough, and you are good enough. I'm not perfect, but who is? When I was able to overcome these fears of not being good enough, this fear of failure and rejection and putting myself out there in the world, I was able to succeed. I found out that I was good enough, and that it didn't require these high benchmarks that I need. And I still have that same fear. I worry I'm not good enough and that I'll fail or have, big embarrassing moments, but I wouldn't be human if I didn't, and neither would you. Even the most successful people, Steve Jobs, Barack Obama, Paul McCartney, J.K. Rowling, and on and on and on, Beyonce Knowles, they all have fears, even if they don't show it, but they just don't let it hold them back. So what can you do about this? Let's look into that a bit. I like a quote from Sven Erickson that says, "The greatest barrier to success is the fear of failure." How ironic is that? So how do you beat your fears? Well, there's no step-by-step program to beating your fears, but here's what I've learned firsthand and from other people. Number one, you've got to acknowledge your fear. This is a huge step. If you just do this today, you've done something great, because many of us have these fears, but they're at the back of our mind, unnoticed, unacknowledged, hidden, and we try to ignore them and pretend they're not there, but they are, and they are affecting you every day in your life. So you've got to acknowledge your fear. Number two, you could write it down. What is your fear? Take a piece of paper out, write it down, not only acknowledging you have it, but bring it out into the light. And it takes it away from being this internal thing to external. It takes it from, back of your mind where it has power over you out into the light of day, outside of you where you have more power over your fear. So take control by writing it down. And then you can do something about it. You can do something that takes you to the next level. Number 3, feel your fear. Now, you've acknowledged it, but you're still afraid of it. You're reluctant to even have that fear because maybe it's embarrassing. Maybe, there's a reason. Well, no more. It's time to recognize that you're not alone. We all have fears, and we all think that they're things like we can't be good enough. But even the most successful people have these fears. They have the same fears you and I do. You have to repeat after me. There's nothing wrong with having this fear. And then allow yourself to feel it and experience it. It isn't bad if you really think about it. It's just part of you. Don't let it control you. Feel the fear and do it anyway. The 4th thing is ask yourself this question. What's the worst thing that can happen? After all, it's never going to be as bad as we think. Do you fear failing in a new career? What would happen if you did fail? You'd just get another job, you'd move on, you'd live. Do you fear being rejected by somebody of the opposite sex? Well, what would happen there? You'd lick your wounds, you'd find someone else who is more suited for you, you would live. Do you fear being broke? What would happen if you were broke? You'd cut back on your expenses, maybe get some help for a little while, but you'd find a way to make money. You'd eventually get over it. So ask yourself what's the worst that could happen. Number 5, just do it. I want to repeat this again. Feel the fear and do it anyway. To beat the fear, you just have to actually go through it. What works for me is not thinking, just acting. When we get inside our head, it keeps us and holds us back. Like when you want to jump off a waterfall, or I've been down to a place called Lake Powell, and you do these cliff jumping. You don't think about it. Trust me, you just jump. It's an exhilarating feeling, and some of you may fear public speaking, but when you just do it, then you can push through it, and it makes you feel better. But just doing it is a way to push through it. Number 6, prepare yourself for battle. When you're going to take on an adversary, you prepare yourself, you arm yourself. And, so when you arm yourself, you're ready for battle, you train yourself, you're ready. So do this in the battle against your fear. Arm yourself, have a plan, train yourself, be prepared. If you want to be a musician and you fear failure, practice, practice, practice. If you don't like public speaking, nothing generates confidence like practice. And you get all these skills, and then you go out and you implement your plan, but you're prepared. 7, just be in the moment. The fear of failure and other, fears like that are generally in the future. We get caught up in worrying about what might happen instead of, banishing all the thoughts of the future and just being present in the moment. Just focus on right now. Do something right now to beat your fears, to pursue your dreams, to forget about what might happen and just do something in the moment. When you find yourself thinking about past or future, bring yourself back to the moment and focus on the activity you're literally doing at that moment, and it'll help you get through it. Number 8, just take small steps. Conquering your fear and pursuing a goal, can be overwhelming. It can be intimidating. So start small. Just take one little baby step, something that you can do, something that will give you some successes, and then build on those successes. It'll make you feel good. You'll take another step, and you'll just keep doing this until you get there. And finally, number 9, celebrate every success. Every single thing you do, you need to celebrate, even the smallest things, because it will help you to build and build and build on what Bill Gates calls a spiral of success. It's not about the end goal, the future, the point that's out there. It's about conquering your fear. And just like we all know, if you can conquer your fear and push through your fears, you will create better beliefs, better mindset, better confidence, better self-esteem, and so on and so on. So I hope you'll find a way to spend some time and truly, take the time to identify, label, and attack your fears head on. And look for support from those around you. Surround yourself with successful, positive, motivated people. Find the motivation you need to chase your dreams by clarifying your vision. And I encourage you to do that. And I applaud you and congratulate you for being willing to try and being willing to just do it. That's my message for today. I hope that's something that'll help you. I hope it's something that'll maybe just encourage you a little bit more to push past your fears. I'd appreciate it if you would share this podcast with anybody that you feel it might help. Let's get that message out, and let's give that support and encouragement to everyone that needs it. And that's the message for today. So I hope you have an amazing day. My name is George Wright III, and this has been the Daily Mastermind. Talk with you soon.